Alright everybody, welcome back. Big news today, there was a huge hack of a huge amount of Ethereum. So let's just dive right into that. Today it was discovered that there is a huge vulnerability in multi-signature wallets created with Parity, which is an Ethereum sort of browser wallet thing, which basically allowed a hacker to steal a huge amount of Ethereum. In particular, it was 153,000 Ethereum. So if you have an Ethereum multi-signature wallet created with Parity, then I suggest you pause this video and go check it out right now and see if your money's gone. So what has happened is that a hacker has been able to steal 153,000 Ethereum out of a handful of different wallets that use this multi-signature feature. At the time that I was researching this, that amount of Ethereum was worth about $30 million. When I started researching it, it was about $32 million. So it's really, the price is going up and down a bit wildly right now, I think partially due to this news. Now, to put that in perspective, at the time of the DAO hack, it was about $50 million worth of Ethereum. So similar ballpark of dollar amount, but a very different amount of Ethereum that was stolen. But it's not all completely terrible news, because a group of white hat hackers, aka good guys, I guess, have sort of preemptively stolen money so that bad guys can't steal it. So a large amount of Ethereum was stolen by good guys so that bad guys can steal it, with the idea that eventually these good guys are going to return this money to its original owners. They released a written statement, these white hat guys. They said the white hat group were made aware of a vulnerability in a specific version of a commonly used multi-sig contract. This vulnerability was trivial to execute, so they took the necessary action to drain every vulnerable multi-sig they could find as quickly as possible. Thank you to the greater Ethereum community for helping finding these vulnerable contracts. So basically they go on to say that be patient, we're going to try to return your funds eventually in a wallet that does not have this vulnerability. So what that means is that if you look at your multi-sig contract wallet thing and all your money's gone, then it might have been taken by the white hats and not by the bad guy hacker. So your money might still be okay, and by money, of course, I mean Ethereum. And if you're not using Parity, and if you're not using a multi-signature contract wallet, then your money's fine. Your Ethereum is totally safe, and you don't need to worry about it. You just need to worry about potential movements in the price that could result from this hack, because it's no small number. So from what I've read on the internet, the vulnerability seems to have stemmed from this function within the smart contract called init wallet, short for initiate wallet. This initiate wallet function had two parameters. So it allowed you to set who owns the wallet and how much you can withdraw in one day from the wallet or the contract. I'm using those terms, I'm using wallet and contract kind of interchangeably right now, so I'm sorry if that gets confusing. So it seems that the problem was that you could access this initialize wallet function even after the wallet had already been made, allowing you to basically override whatever parameters were set at the creation of the wallet, basically allowing you to take any wallet that you see and make yourself the owner and change the withdrawal limit to unlimited. That seems to be what people online are suggesting was the cause of this. But I can't confirm it because I'm not an expert on these things. And if that is in fact the case, and that's what the exploit that was exploited was, then that's pretty terrible and pretty sloppy and pretty sad, to be honest. So even though this whole thing has been unfolding over the last 7 hours or something, there seems to be already a small amount of people calling for a hard fork to return the stolen money. I imagine that this is a very unpopular idea within the Ethereum community, considering what happened the last time there was a hard fork, the DAO hard fork to be exact, and that was obviously a complete disaster, and politically speaking, a lot of people disagreed with the hard fork, which obviously resulted in the existence of Ethereum Classic. One thing I want to talk about, so this hacker had access to this vulnerability. I guess it would be considered a 0-day vulnerability because no one knew about it before the attack occurred. So my question is, why wasn't the hacker able to steal more money? Why, if they had the jump on this vulnerability, if they were they had the first strike on this vulnerability, why weren't they able to get all of the funds before the white hat hackers were able to preempt them? Why weren't they able to just take all of the Ethereum if they presumably had a rather large window of opportunity where they were the only ones who knew about this vulnerability? So that's kind of my question. Yeah, I think I want to do a greater technical analysis later on when more information comes out. This is obviously a bad thing for Ethereum. No one's celebrating in the streets about another hack. These types of things can scare people away. Now, I think obviously the timing is a little bad for this and for Ethereum in general, because Ethereum has been receiving a lot of mainstream attention lately, and this kind of event has the potential to derail some of the adoption and success that has been occurring over the last little while. I mean, hopefully it doesn't. I'm just saying, a lot of enterprise, a lot of big companies have been getting into Ethereum lately, forming partnerships with Ethereum and Ethereum-based companies. And I think that's, a lot of what's been driving huge interest in Ethereum. And something like this is obviously big enough to sort of scare people away and to make people skeptical. So hopefully that doesn't cause people to start backing away from Ethereum. But, obviously this is happening right now, so we'll see what happens. And, obviously this is a great opportunity for detractors and skeptics to shit on Ethereum and smart contracts in general, because, let's be honest, the people that wrote this, function, this smart contract that was so easily exploitable, they kind of shit the bed on this one. So, for example, Charlie Lee, the guy who created Litecoin, he was on Twitter. He called Ethereum a hacker's paradise, which maybe he's not wrong. It's a legitimate claim, in this moment. So yeah, that's about it. Hopefully by the time I release this video, all of my information isn't already out of date, because obviously this is a fast-moving situation. So stay safe, keep your private key private, and hopefully your coins are not in a Parity multi-signature contract.